time of uncertainty, two men have emerged. Two men have found a way. Featuring Beechy and Blackers. Pincher, Operator Al, and the Mancologist. It's time for Sunday Night Live.
We are back for another week of Sunday Night Live. Hello, everybody watching, and I'm here with Blackers and Big Phil's with us, and we've got a special guest tonight, Suneel Shivdasani. So that's going to be great. He's going to be sharing his story of faith, and of course, Pincher is going to be back. But before we carry on, Nathan wants me to talk about clearly what he put on his face in the intro sequence. But before that, he actually was doing something else. What were you doing, my friend, during the intro sequence when no one could watch you? When no one was watching?
Flexing.
Right, okay. So show everyone what you were doing when you thought no one could watch you.
Well,
No.
I did a single arm. Then I did the double. And Big Phil was doing it with me.
Yeah, and then what happened in the background was this. I don't know if we can bring on Big Phil. This is unplanned, but the internet will solve it. But then you were flexing when no one was watching, and then this happened. Go on, Big Phil.
Yeah, well,
He was like looking at a couple of little Brussels sprouts, wasn't it? Which is why I've now actually stopped flexing. Partly as well, because I've been able to work out a few weeks of a broken foot. Anyway, we've got loads going on this week, and obviously, talk about your covering. Talk about that. What is it?
well, I was just going to say, if Boris does make them compulsory, we're ahead of the curve, mate. Look, to be fair, I've never put one on. I find them quite uncomfortable and a bit. I don't like them, but anyway, we have got them.
Tell everyone what the X11 is, though.
Well, that's the code, mate. X11 is CVM's code. It's a resource that we produce. It's fantastic. And we've got these branded face coverings. Can I just say, they are only little thin material things. They're not like hazmat standard.
No. But it will do the basic job.
Yeah, and if you've got a little head, then that's your setting. Or if you've got the big head, you go for the outsides.
How about that?
And you can just have it over your nose like that, depending on where you go.
Be interesting. It actually. Who said that?
Look at the internet.
Oh, the internet. Can you bring yourself on? Can you do that? This gentleman is what we have to contend with in the background every week. It's very disconcerting.
Scary, actually.
Especially when he's only got the production sound on and you can't hear him, and he's got that thing on. It's awesome. We can't help but do what he says. Anyway, the rules are gradually changing, and they're obviously trying to compensate with a little bit of mitigating technique. But what are you most looking forward to, mate? Now that lockdown's over, I mean, where are you at?
So I've been working out at home. Obviously, kettlebell, skipping rope, heavy bag, weights. But I am looking forward to the gym opening. I've got to be honest. 25th of July, I'm hoping. Big Phil might give us an update on that. My kids went back to school, believe it or not. Two of my kids, because I worked out I was classified as a key worker. I don't know how, but
mate, we're taking the rescue mission of Jesus to the nation.
Well, exactly, and the government have acknowledged that and said, yeah, get your kids back in school. So yeah, that. What else? I'm also looking forward to not queuing as much. I'm hoping that we don't have to queue quite as much. What about you,
I tell you what. Well, just on that note about queuing, me and you, when you were up in Ches Vegas, we went out to Wetherspoons, didn't we? We went to Spoonies for a couple of Diet Cokes and a chat.
Yeah.
And what I liked about it was you a little bit of hand sanitizer when you go in.
Yeah.
And I like I like having clean hands. I like that. And then you order behind a perspex screen, very good. And then table service all night, and
It was nice.
not many other people near you. I'm telling you, I mean, no crowding at the bar, pushing and shoving. I'm quite liking it. I've got to be honest. And
Yeah.
I'm not a big. I mean, I like cuddling my wife, obviously, but I'm not a big hugger. And I quite like the fact that people aren't hugging me at the moment. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I hug some mates, but I'm kind of liking it. But in terms of lockdown ending, I do miss ducking and diving around the country. I mean, I like wheeling and dealing and doing stuff and making things happen. I've missed that. But to be honest,
Yeah.
I've quite liked as well being at home with the family and working from home. After 25 years of relentlessly working, out and about, well, particularly the last 15 years, very much on the road most of the time, it has been a nice little bit of recalibration. So,
Good,
but I'm looking forward to the old ducking and diving, really. I think that's going to be a good one. So, going to be
just
back
a
out
few
on the road
comments
next
here,
week.
mate. Let me pick up a few of these comments quickly. This one, where can I get one of Britta's masks? Well, you can head over to cvm.org.uk
Going away, is it, mate? Brittany? No, I ain't going away.
/ face coverings.
Yeah.
Face
Sorry,
coverings.
mate.
No, it's fine. Someone's put Diet Cokes. I mean, I'm a bit lost. Oh, is that all right?
No, we had a glass of wine. We had a glass of wine.
Oh yeah, we had a glass of wine, a nice white Sauvignon actually, because we're both going low carbs.
And from Marlborough, if you're going to have a Sauvignon Blanc, I think it's a Marlborough grape, really. Some of my mates listening are into their wine, but I think the New Zealand Marlborough, you can smell the New Zealand air and the gooseberries. Beautiful. Anyway, what else you got coming up there? There was another comment. I saw another comment. Was that you?
That was it, I think. Michael Cooper was jumping in, but I just cleared the queue, so I can't put any more up.
Okay, brilliant. I think it's time for... what's that?
Spoons are really welcoming.
Oh, there you go. Anyway, I think it's time for a little rant, don't you?
It's time to put things right with Beechy and Blackers.
Before we do the rant, someone just put a little comment up. Dan Roos. Is there a combined face mask and hairband asking for a friend?
Why can't I say that? Hang on, I'm in charge of social media.
No, but I know you are. But I've got the old Facebook stream next to me because I think you might be rationing the comments.
Oh, and hang on.
The nation knows
just
you
put
wear
it
a
into
hairband.
my screen.
So, but I think Dan might be onto something. Just for those watching who don't know what we're talking about, Nathan wears a hairband, and that's perfectly masculine.
Hang on. Big Phil's turning his nose up. Suneel's laughing. Al's laughing. Steve's shaking his head. Yes, I do wear a hairband. I'm trying to grow my hair into a man bun, and I'm in the intermediate stage. And it's... Hang on. We did this before. It is not a hairband. It is a gun spring that they've taken out of a barrel of a rifle, and they've straightened it out and then curled it, and then that sits lovely. You don't even see it. No one knows it's there other than when Carl tells everyone it's there. Anyway, if you start in trouble... Got them both on.
There we go. What a thing of beauty that is. Anyway, the rant. Take us through this, Nathan.
Well, basically, mate, it's something we know. I pulled up some stats online, and I was quite shocked to see the decline or the size reducing of chocolate. So Snickers, went down in between 2014 and 2018. It went down nearly 30% in size. A Snickers bar. Toblerone 25%, Twix 20%, Yorkie 17, Kit Kat Crunchy 16.
Whoa! A Twix, I knew it. A Twix has gone down 20%.
From 200 grams to 160.
Wow.
And here's the thing, that same Twix has gone up 54% in price from 78 pence to £1.20. Now, I just want to voice it a bit of a. I think we've got an issue. I don't know what you think, but I've seen the reduction in chocolate to be a bit of an offence. I don't know what we can do about it. Over to you, Beechy. Help me.
Well, two other issues. I'm utterly convinced that when you bought a bag of crisps back in the day, you open that bag of crisps and there were crisps in the bag. Now you open a bag of crisps and there's just a few crisps in the bag and a lot of it. The other thing I'm concerned about is I had a long period of not going into McDonald's. I'm saying a long period.
All right.
Not like being a kid to a grown up. I mean, like being a young adult to a nearly 50-year-old.
Yeah.
And when I went in and I got a cheeseburger, that cheeseburger was like one of those mini burger snacks you get in a Nouveau Cuisine gaff. You could put it all in your mouth in one hit and it's gone.
But I've seen you do that with a normal cheeseburger. I've seen you do that to a double cheeseburger. When we were on the road trip in that camper van, I was like, it was like watching art being made in front of me, watching you do a McDonald's. It was amazing.
We did a YouTube video on it and it went viral. On our double cheeseburger. Do you remember I had that sore on my mouth?
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
I couldn't open my mouth properly. I was like this.
That was rough. You had that, and you had that foil blanket on. You were a real mess one day, weren't you?
Thought I was going to die. But I still managed to get a double cheeseburger in one go, which is an astonishing. Anyway, what we're saying is put it right.
Sort it out.
Sort it out. Mate, give us value for money. I know we're in this terrible economic crisis, but stop ripping us off with your chocolate and your burgers. That's what we're saying, isn't it? That's what the rant is.
It is. Yeah.
What Big Phil's here, we need to move on to Big Phil, but
come on,
let's bring him on because I want to. Now, he's a big unit. He's a big lad.
He's not getting any smaller.
He's on an incredibly small sofa, or he's actually massive. Let's bring him onto the screen, if we can, because what we want to know is, Big Phil, you need to eat. I'm going to suggest quite a bit to maintain your size. Do you need to eat more burgers now from McDonald's than you used to?
I will. If I'm gonna, I do have McDonald's every so often. I know that's not a very good idea for someone who's trying. But hey, I'm only human. So I will have. I'll have 3 double cheeseburgers and a large fries in one sitting. Yeah. And then maybe go and buy myself a couple of Twixes.
That's it. But I think back in the day you only even had 2. Now, what we're going to ask you today, one quick question, then just a comment for us. Now, what we're going to say is good forearms. How do you get a good forearm going?
Okay, so good forearm. Where are we? Okay, so what a lot of people do is they kind of train the muscles not so efficiently, should we say. What you see in the gym is you see a lot of people with a dumbbell, okay, and they get the weight and they go like that, lift it up here, okay. So if you put your hand on your forearm and feel the muscles tensing, okay, so from down to up, okay, you can feel the different muscles tensing. That's correct.
Yeah.
But what a better idea would be, from my point of view, is if you just clench your fist, feel how much more that muscle tightens. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so soften your hand and do that. Okay, you can feel different muscles tightening, different muscles flexing. But then if you grip your hand as tight as you can, that basically tenses more or less every single muscle in the forearm. So what I'm saying is, if you are doing forearms, if you want nice big forearms, we need to do some grip. Okay, so basically you need to pick up a large weight and hold it in your hands as long as you can. Okay, there's different ways of doing it. What I do is I do 30 seconds at a time, get, say, some dumbbells in each hand.
Or
the Bible. You need a big Bible. I think you'd need a big Bible. Yeah, so get a couple of dumbbells in your hand, nice and heavy. You're not going to do anything. You're just going to stand there or sit there with them in your hands for 30 seconds at a time. Okay, and you're going to do about 3 or 4 sets, and that will really give you the forearm pump. And then if you feel like you need to do something a little bit more, it's basically doing a dumbbell with this, but it's not that's not the best way to build your forearms. But if obviously you're still in lockdown and before the gyms are opening, what you could simply do is simply hang from a pull-up bar or a ledge for the same reason, for the same amount of time.
I'm going to ask you, what do you think of that forearm?
That is a question I've never been asked before in my life.
Bit underwhelming.
You know what?
That.
Your forearms are probably slightly ahead of your upper arm, so you've got more development in your forearm than your bicep and tricep at the moment.
Hold on.
So,
what are you saying?
Yeah, so you can see from that camera, you can see that the forearm is more developed than the bicep and tricep. And I know you've had a bit of a tough time with being able to train at the moment, but what I'd suggest is you're doing enough for the forearms. Just do a little bit more on the upper bicep and tricep. But yeah, so basically you look like Popeye.
Well, I wish I never asked now. Just before we move on, you're in a proper strongman gym. What is considered to be bad fashion in a gym? Like by you, if someone walked in. No, if someone walked in, because you're like, vest, pair of shorts, cap.
Yeah.
What would I need to walk in like for you to think that's a bit weird?
But I have actually had customers, male customers, come into my gym with female yoga pants on because they think it shows off their legs. So it's everyone to everyone's own. Everyone can wear whatever they want, but it's very bizarre to look at.
So there you heard it from England's former strongest man. Do not wear yoga pants as a man in a gym. Very bad.
It doesn't leave much for the imagination either. Sorry, it doesn't leave much for the imagination either. So it's a bit awkward when you're talking to them as well.
And that brings the end of this week's Strongman tip, and also the end of this one, because we're actually going to take a break for 7 weeks after this for developing our content. More on that a little bit later. But I think right now it's time for a little game of battleships. Thank you, Phil. Let's go battleships.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's game time with Beechy and Blackers.
Hands to action stations. Hands to action stations. Assume NBCD State 1, condition Zulu.
Okay, so what we're doing is take your little 3-hole one, put it anywhere, and then one shot each. One shot, if it hits, it's sunk. That's a great tip from Phil then, actually. I didn't know that about the forearms, but I think also I need to get a bit more focus on my biceps.
Mate, that's why those, remember those like grip things?
Yeah.
I think they do your forearm. I mean, I can see my forearm. You can't see there, but he's doing it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, Phil's got his thumb up. I'm going to get a couple of them. That's
not
the
sure why he's
internet,
doing
which
that.
is like, right. I placed my ship. Have you placed yours?
Yes.
Right, one shot each. If it hits, it's sunk. Go. Your turn. You go first.
One shot.
One shot, like last week. One shot. If it hits, you sink the ship. That's it.
Right. F2.
To miss. All right. I'm gonna say D4.
To miss.
Let's have one more each.
All right. I'm going to go B6.
D6.
No, I
Did
said
you say
B, but
D?
I'm wondering now about D6. I've changed it to D6. I did say B.
Right. You actually missed. In the interest of honesty, I'm going to show you. You missed it by one hole. I'm going to go. Right, my last shot. G2.
No, it's a miss.
No. What a terrible way to end the season.
Is that it? Yeah, well, I was just going to say, if I told you mine was on H, have a go at H.
Hold on.
Hands to action stations. Hands to action stations.
H7. Right. Well, you know where mine is. Can you remember?
Of course I can.
I showed you on the screen. You saw it.
5.
That's it. Literally on that cannon fire, both ships sunk, ready to refloat in 7 weeks. That was actually, I felt quite tense about that. I think it's time for a little bit of Pincher's music trivia.
Let's do it.
From a dusty cabin miles away, it's the man known only as Pincher. It's only Pincher's music trivia.
Is he out there? Good old Pincher.
Hello.
Hello, mate. What you got for us?
Well, I've got an upside down jukebox by the looks of things.
Oh, yeah.
Internet. Your jukebox has been stood on its, giving his feet a rest, mate. There we go. That's better. Look at that. All the records would have fallen out. So, yeah, so we've been doing a little bit of vinyl, been looking at the records and stuff. What are we going to dig into? One of my favourite genres, of course, and Carl knows this, is prog. I love a bit of prog rock. So this week I thought we'd go back to the classic. Let's go and have a look at a bit of Floyd. Pink Floyd started in 1965. Sid Barrett is my Floyd little section. In the albums here, what we got here? Yeah, I remember that one. There's the Zabriskie Point. Wow, yeah, soundtrack album. Floyd started in '65. Source Full of Secrets and a nice pair there. Good album that. And Relics, that MFP thing, and all the rest of them. Arnold Lane, See Emily Play, and of course Sid Barrett, who left in '68. Now this is a great one, isn't it? Look at this. Several species of small furry animals gathered together in a cave and grooving with a pict. You don't get much better song titles than that. What a title that is. In fact, I gave my lad, took that to school once as a piece of music, and his music teacher wasn't very impressed. So Waters, of course, and was the main songwriter. And here we go, Dark Side. I mean, Dark Side, what an album. We're looking at that a bit more later. Wish You Were Here, and Animals, my favourite Floyd album. I love that album. Roger Waters left in '83 after the final cut, The Wall there. Look at this sleeve. You don't get that on an MP3 or a download or a Spotify playlist here. The final cut, the final one with Roger Waters, who then left. Then we moved on to stuff like this, Momentary Lapse in Reason, and the Division Bell, and of course, Endless River. But I thought this week, rather than just go straight into the vinyl, I thought we'd have a dip into a different format. We'd have a look at some cassettes. Now, we all had a cassette in the car. Yeah, there's my old bomber thing there. So this is stuff that I recorded years ago. There's some bootlegs there and stuff recorded off the radio, old classic stuff off Radio 1, documentaries, some Jonathan King. It was in tune. There's some great stuff in here. And, of course, there are my Live Aid recordings, which I recorded off the radio. Tommy Vance, Friday Rock Show. There's a Pink Floyd story. Amazing story, actually, the Floyd. One of playing all those weird clubs back in the tail end of the 60s, all the psychedelic stuff. There's some more cassettes there. The Zeppelin bootlegs, my personal recording from Nebworth, 1979. I actually recorded that on a boombox, Ghetto Blaster in the field at Nebworth. Various other stuff. Now, I think we've got a couple of Floyds in here, which we might, I can't remember, I've got a couple in here. Yeah, here we go. So, there we go. We're going to go for this one. This is a recording off the radio, Dark Side of the Moon live in 1974 on a BASF cassette. Don't get that many of them. So we'll flash up the old cassette deck. The amp's on, I think. Yeah, the amp's on. So pop the cassette in. And we're going to see where we are with this. This is Dark Side of the Moon live. Amazing album. What an album. And live. How do you reproduce this live? So we'll have a listen. Where are we? Just about here. Let's crank that up a bit. There we go. Just coming into... What an album. I mean... That's recorded off the radio in 1974, and it's lasted all these years. But the classic Floyd album. And so, if you want to dig into Floyd, we'll probably have to stop that. The YouTube police will have us. So there's the Floyd albums. Dig into a bit of prog rock. Go for Gentle Giant. Bring into some other stuff there, maybe that's a bit more obscure, and then we start moving into obviously some Genesis stuff, loads of prog, dig in, great stuff there. And when we come back in September, I'll have reloaded the jukebox. So over the next 7 weeks, fellas, you want, mate?
That album sounded amazing then, actually, mate. That was sounded like a bit of beautiful music, and I don't think I've listened to that, you know. So I don't know.
Side of the Moon?
No. Do you know, I don't think I've only ever listened to half of it, and I felt depressed.
Oh, mate. Yeah, well, no, crack your headphones on, sit there, crack it up loud, and listen to Dark Side.
I remember listening to it at Coventry Uni with me mate, Rich, and I started feeling really like, ugh, and a bit down. So I never really properly listened to it again. It's been like, properly listen to it and absorb it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, stick it on headphones. Floyd on headphones.
Do you want to chat about this after the broadcast? I mean, it might be nice.
Yeah, I think we will.
It's getting a bit boring. Talking about who? Pink Floyd. Do you know what? I don't think I've ever listened to one song from Pink Floyd.
But hold on. What about The Wall?
The what?
Another brick in the wall.
Education. Come on, you know.
No, mate. No. Wrong era. Come on, you boys. You got 10, 15 years on me. Sorry, mate.
It's not often I feel that's cool.
That's upset you, isn't it? I can see.
You're like Britney Spears, isn't it?
There you go. That's what he wants. And what is that?
You've seen the subwoofers in my boot, haven't you?
Yeah.
There we go.
Subwoofers, mate. I'll give it them.
I don't actually know what's going on now. I feel like I stepped into a parallel universe. Anyway, I think it's time
I live in one, so welcome to my world.
Thank you very much, Pincher. What I'm going to say is, we're going to move into the big interview in a minute, but if you think Pincher should have his own YouTube channel, stick a thumbs up in the comments. and maybe we'll talk to you about it. But yeah, stick your thumb up if you think Pinchers should have a YouTube channel about the cabin, and we'll report back and see what the response is in a moment. Anyway, it's time for the Sunday Night Live interview.
Ladies and gentlemen, Beechy and Blackers bring to you the Sunday Night Live interview.
Now, our special guest this week. Now, Nathan's gonna lead on the interview, but I just want to do a little introduction because our special guest actually, before he came to work with me at CVM, he actually phoned me up once and said, "I hear you're looking to do such and such a piece of work. I think I can help you." Actually lectured me at Bible college and in the early 90s, and once maybe nearly died to the floor. I think I pretty much did die to the floor in a Hare Krishna temple when which is a story that may come out later. But we have had some adventures together and travelled to India together. He's put up with my weird moods and behaviours. I say not moods. I'm not really moody, but weird behaviours for many years now. It's only Suneel Shivdasani, everybody. So CVM. So I'm going to say over to you, Nathan, to take Suneel through his story.
It's good to see you, Suneel. Are you in a call centre?
No, I'm not actually. No, not down in Sutton in Surrey. Just in my office. So
it's good to have you with us, mate. Suneel, tell the guys and anyone listening just a little bit about your background. So you're with us, CVM. You do some international stuff for us, but you've got loads more going on. Tell us a little bit about yourself briefly.
Sure. So I was born in Golders Green in North London. Grew up in London. My parents come from what is now Pakistan, India. So although it's a Muslim area, because they were Hindus, we really saw India as our homeland in many ways. But I've been to India and to Pakistan over the years. Married to Susan, Amir. Our son is 18. So that gives you a flavour of about who I am and stuff like that. I've been with CVM for a number of years.
You're obviously a well-travelled man as well. I mean, have you ever added up how many countries you've been to, just out of interest?
No, I haven't. But I mean, it's not that many because I've been to a few countries several times. But I've been to Asia, I've been to Americas, I've been to East Asia and stuff like that. So yeah, Europe.
So I know Carl's travelled a bit with you. I've travelled a bit as well in our role with CVM, which has been really cool. We've been over to Serbia and seen Zoli. I don't know if Zoli watches, but we've done some cool stuff over there as well. It's been good, isn't it?
It's been really good fun.
Always, whenever we travel together and hearing your story, I'm always really encouraged because I think there's a lot of people who struggle to not only share the truth of Jesus, but also to share the truth of Jesus across different faiths when someone believes something very different. And you've always been really good at that. You've always been really good at creating these bridges. And we'll get to that in a minute, but tell us a little bit about your faith journey. I mean, have you always been a Christian? What's your journey?
Yeah, sure. No, I come from a Hindu background. And just an example of what that meant, like in the home, every morning Mum would say her prayers in the morning and in the evening. Those were the 20 minutes in the morning where we knew she wasn't supposed to be disturbed. We were vegetarian once a week on a Monday. Once a month we had a family service just for a few minutes. Dad would watch telly, but the rest of us would gather around and have a small sort of family service. So that was the context as a Hindu. And the first time I prayed to the God of the Bible, I was in a chapel. I was at boarding school, and there was a chapel there. So every morning you had to go to chapel. So I was in chapel, and I was so impressed by the beauty of the stained glass window that I prayed to the God of the Bible. We were in a chapel, it was Christian, prayed to the God of the Bible. And my prayer was something like, God, I'll follow your 10 commandments if you look after me. Now, didn't know what the 10 commandments were, to be honest, but that was my prayer. And what was interesting was that I really felt a sense of calm and peace on my life that I now know to be, the Spirit of God sort of thing. But it was a very powerful experience for the next few days. And then when that lifted, after about 2 or 3 days later, I became angry, saying, where's God gone? Why has he left me? What have I done? Now, I hadn't even read the 10 Commandments in those days. I hadn't even done my bit of the bargain. but there was a real sense that God had said, let me give you a taste, a flavor, and then see where you go with this. And then a number of years later, I did a search for God. And when I remember my prayer to Jesus, it was something like, Jesus, I don't know if you're God or not, but if you are God, then I come to you on your terms. I know I'm doing wrong and I'm sorry in the things I'm saying. If you're God, you'll be my God. And on that basis, he came into my life. And so they're in the next stage of the journey.
What motivated that search? Because I may be totally wrong here. I don't really know a lot about Hinduism. I did do world religions at Bible college, but that was a long time ago. I'm assuming Hinduism has a lot of different gods, and obviously Christianity kind of reduces that down quite significantly. I mean, what motivated that search for you? What was it that took you to Jesus? You know, why were you looking there?
Yeah. So first of all, what motivated to search for God was very much a sense of I didn't want God to say to me, Suneel, you've never looked. Right. I thought, if I'm staying in someone's house and I've never even bothered to say hello to my host, then that's really not very good. Or if I worked for somebody and I didn't even take the trouble to get to know my manager if I could do, to me that was just inappropriate. So part of it was a search for, if there's a God, I don't want to be caught with my pants down. I've at least done my research. If I find, I follow. If I don't, well, at least I've looked. So that was the first driver, I'd say. And I mean, I must admit, actually, for a lot of people, I'd really encourage them to identify and to share what motivated them to search. Because for many people, part of the issue is they don't have that motivation to search. And if you're not motivated to search, you're never going to find. No. So if I'd really encourage those who do know Jesus, who do know God, who've had some experience, motivate other people to search. What is it that you really appreciate? What are the practical benefits of your faith? And let others know that. Otherwise, as far as they're concerned, it's not relevant. So, but what motivated me to search for Jesus? Well, I met this guy and he mentioned Jesus specifically. And I was quite patronizing, to be honest. I said, well, I'm glad you found what you're looking for. But thank you very much. I'm a Hindu, ancient religion, all that. So I don't need your Jesus. But I'm glad you're happy. But I remember he mentioned Jesus explicitly. And then when it came for me to pray, I was walking home. I remember saying, let me try Jesus. And that's when my life changed.
Wow. So amazing. And I remember one of the stories you told, and often we talk about how important it is to mention Jesus and talk about him and share the good news of him. And you told a story once of a lady who had a load of different icons and images, and she was praying to these things. And instead of challenging her sort of theology or the way she was practicing her religion, you just said, why don't you add Jesus into this? And do you want to just share some of that? Because that was so exciting.
Yeah. And in all fairness, we say, some Hinduism has a lot of gods, but I would say most of my friends who are not Christians, they might have their security partly in their money, in their wealth, in their bank account, partly in their relationships, partly in their job situation. And they've got a host of things through which they get their identity and which gives them their security. And they may not literally put them on a shelf like a Hindu does, but actually they pay homage to them in different ways. They might give up their time to them. They might give up their money towards them. But anyway, Minu's story. So this was a Hindu friend of mine, and she had a shelf of idols, a shelf of little statues of expressions of God, you could say, in her house, in her room. And every day she would pay respect to each of them and ask God's blessing, etc., and turn to them. There's a degree of superstition in that, if we're honest, probably, but certainly a degree of trust and looking to them to provide. And then she heard she was going to a Bible club, and so she put Jesus, as it were, on the shelf. So she bought a statue, I guess from a Catholic place or somewhere, a little statue of Jesus or a picture, put him on the shelf. And alongside all the other gods, she started praying to Jesus. And then over time, I guess a few weeks, a few months, she discovered that it was Jesus, the Jesus idol, Jesus, that was answering her prayers more than the other ones. And so while they were all there on the shelf, he became the central idol, the main one that she prayed to. And then in her club, as her Bible club, as they kept on saying again and again a few times, there's only one way, you've got to put other idols aside. She learned to put the others aside and solely trust in Jesus. And if somebody was coming to our youth group, we wouldn't say to them, sort your relationships out, sort this out, sort that out, and then come to Jesus. We'd say, in the mix of that, come as you are, ask Jesus into your life. And as he comes into our life more and more, and we prove his power and his greatness, we begin to let go of the other ones, which is actually not dissimilar in many ways, I would suggest.
Yeah, that's great, Sunil. And people are commenting in there, what a beautiful way of putting things. And it's certainly something I know Carl's talked about a lot in the church that he's, founding and working in. And it is that attitude and that spirit of come as you are, just come to Jesus. You don't have to get everything right and in order. He just opens the doors and says, come in. I mean, what do you think? You want to add anything on that, Carl?
Yeah, I don't think everything gets sorted out this side of eternity. That's I think we can have an aspiration for that, and we can have faith for that. But we're increasingly finding there's so much damage and conflict and carnage and tangles in people's lives. I see my job as a church leader with that bit of my life to keep the temperature high in the centre for Christ and to woo people towards him and not police them. And so you see a lot of people are just on a journey. We just keep that temperature hot, and you've got to have a lot of grace for people these days. I think a lot of churches and church leaders, they want everything in order. But if you want to see people come to faith, and I've learned this from Sunil over I first met Sunil at 24 years ago, I think.
Quite a while ago.
It's quite a while ago.
A couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, and we've learned, and you learn these things together. You just got to keep the temperature hot, keep prayer hot, keep the Bible central, have lots of grace for people, and the Holy Spirit does the work. And often our priorities aren't God's priorities. The things that we think are so important. There's a lot of church. Sunil phrase I picked up from Sunil. A lot of churchianity versus kingdom Christianity.
Yeah,
that's what I've learned from you, Sunil, to be fair.
It's God using each one of us to help and spur another on. It's very interesting when in the Gospels, I would say when Jesus said, you've got to have faith in me, he was saying, do you trust me? Do you trust me? And it's in the book of Romans that we get the theology of the gospel. Now, there are odd lines here and there are odd snippets. He died to seek, the Son of Man's come to seek and save the lost and all that. But the bulk of the gospel is actually in Romans. And when I buy something on the internet, to be honest, I don't read the terms and conditions. I say, I want this object. I know in principle how it works. Tick the box. I trust these guys. And I think Jesus is first saying, if we say to people, do you want to trust him? See how it works. Taste and see. Yeah. And then we'll go into the small print. Then we'll go into the small print.
I think that's right. I think that's right. I mean, when you read the Gospels a bit more forensically, you realise just how patient Jesus was with his disciples. He was up to go, a bunch of divs, just shut up and do one. But he wasn't like that, was he? Sometimes you can sense he's just a bit exasperated. but he allowed them to walk the journey. He even sat next to Judas when he was being betrayed. Do you know what I mean? So it's lots of grace for people on their journey. And I think, we are seeing a lot of people come to Christ at Redeemer King. And there's a lot of people on a journey in very mixed ways. And I do some teaching on this, but it's just having grace for people, isn't it? And if we're going to see people from a South Asian rooted faith, you've got to have a lot of grace and patience, haven't you? And just walk that journey with them.
Yeah.
So I mean, and Sunil is the most gracious person in the world because he's still my mate after 24 years.
You're still my mate after 24 years, mate. It works both ways.
No, I know I'm difficult to journey with, but you're just one of the most gracious men in the world. So, yeah. So it's just amazing hearing your story. And what I would say is, I don't know if you're still doing this still, but you're still doing these kind of orientating people around the South Asian community type trips. Are you still doing that sort of thing?
If people want to, go and visit a Hindu home or a Hindu, having a Hindu discussion with some Hindus, we could certainly arrange it. And likewise, also Muslim. I've got some Muslim friends or some Sikh friends, and they'd be very happy to. We could arrange that, no problem whatsoever.
See, we've been doing this at CVM for many, many years, trying to cross cultural bridges with the gospel, and so we brought Suneel to help us with this. And I'll just share from my own personal experience. I wanted to be put through, even after training in quite a radical church planting course at the time, back in the 90s, with Stuart Murray Williams. I got Suneel to take me around South London with a colleague. We went into a Hindu temple. I think we went to a mosque. We had lunch with a radical Islamic, and then another separate occasion, you took me into a Hare Krishna temple, and I'll never forget going into this little house in South London, and I thought it was an ordinary looking house, and then suddenly all these guys come out in orange robes, and they showed us into a lounge, and they banged this big gong, and this curtain was pulled, and there was like an idol there, wasn't there, or like a Buddha or something, I can't remember what it was. Then he came in and started trying to throw holy water on us, and he stood there calm as anything. And me and all my mates tried to dive on the floor to get away from it. It was a funny
I remember
scene.
that story.
Yeah. I think that's how we probably met each other. But what's if you want to reach these South Asian communities, he will show you a world that is hidden from most white eyes. White people's eyes, isn't it? It is true. Like, they don't realise the world exists beyond the veil, and you help us really engage with that. It's a beautiful thing you do. So
and actually, in all fairness, you don't have to go far. So, for example, I did a men's curry night, and and during the evening, there was I speaking to the Bangladeshi restaurant, the waiters and stuff, and actually, it doesn't take much to go into their world, the door's wide open, because when I started following Jesus and started calling myself a Christian, I then went home and I found on my dad's bookshelf some books by the Jehovah's Witnesses. And it suddenly dawned on me that even though I was using the term Christian, they were thinking Jehovah's Witness.
Wow.
And when many people think about Islam or about Hindu, they're thinking of a particular stereotype would be the wrong word, but a particular framework, a particular mentality or whatever. But I know many of my Christian friends, they don't read the Bible. They go to church at Christmas, but that's as far as it goes. For them, it's the culture of Christianity is really important. And for many of my Muslim friends, for some of them, they're really ardent, but they really stick to the book very tightly. For others, they have to navigate it for their own theology. For others, it's more culture and practice. And so really, we've almost got to, in one sense, forget they're Muslims or Hindus, but just say, okay, we hear that. I'd love to hear what that means for you. So please, will you unpack what your spirituality is to me? And then let me unpack my spirituality to you. Let's compare notes as we journey life together. And that can be a really powerful way in.
Yeah.
Brilliant. That's amazing, mate. So if you want to contact Suneel, just got to go to admin@cvm.org.uk and we'll put you in touch. But you've got a beautiful story, mate, and you've got such a grace and wisdom about you. And I know a lot of churches could be super helped by you. And I actually really mean that. You can add so much wisdom to a lot of churches just want to reach out to their community. And you need that sensitivity and wisdom if you're going to do it well. That's one thing I learned from Suneel. So, mate, amazing. Thanks very much. I think it's time for the can clap. How do we do the can clap?
Thanks, Suneel.
That's fine, Suneel.
Cheerio, guys. Have a good one.
Thanks, mate. Thanks so much for your time. Mate, you're going to update us on... I mean, how good is Suneel? Amazing. You're going to update us on podcasts and stuff. Is that what you're going to do?
Yeah. Just only briefly. So we've obviously got a podcast going out every other Monday. There's you can find it on Spotify and all the other platforms where you'd find a podcast, or you can head over to our YouTube channel, like and subscribe, get involved, and you can watch the video of the podcast if you're not into audio podcasts. But basically, it's Beechy and I chatting over a load of stuff. We mix it up. We do a book review, or we talk from books. We talk about courage, strength, honour, bravery, don't we, mate? We just try and throw loads of stuff in, but we are mixing it up. We're going to change it. Do you want to tell the viewers, mate, what we're going to do?
Yeah, what we've decided to do in this pandemic geared world is we want to do more at depth rather than churn out lots of volume. We're going to go to a podcast that's now monthly, and those podcasts will be up to an hour or longer, and we're going to go properly deep into lots of research and stats. It's going to be good. It'll be very interesting. And we're going to be looking at some fascinating characters, technology, how our faith comes into it, futurist stuff, interviewing people. So we're going to be spending a whole lot of time reading and researching so we can churn out more content at depth. So that's where it's going to go. So you guys on a long commute or working at home, you've got a good chunk of stuff to put on in the background. So we're really going to go for it and really going to step it up. For part of that, I've rejigged how my own working life's going at the moment. So we've got more time to put time into content and all that sort of stuff. So watch this space. It's going to be good, isn't it, mate? We're excited about it.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. Yeah, like Beechy says, we're going to go really in depth with this stuff. But it takes a lot of reading, and you can't see on the cam. But I've got books everywhere, and I know you have as well, mate. Loads of books. It's just finding the time to get in there. But we're going to do it. We're going to get these books, and we're going to go for it and pour out the knowledge. And it'll instantly leave my head.
Heavy stuff at the moment, actually. I'm reading some proper heavy stuff on the origins of black and white working class people in the UK. It's properly heavy. I'm also reading a very, very frustrating book about the Enlightenment, which is properly doing my head in. I'm so frustrated. I can't wait to talk about it. It's apparently Bill Gates' biggest work, but it's one of the most depressing things I've ever read in my life. So I can't wait to tear it apart. So that's good. Right, anyway, clip of the week.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's watch some clips. So there's no intro for this. We're just going to go straight to it, and then we'll do the top three. Clip of the week has been, if you're watching for the first time, clip of the week has been our suggestion at Olympic events that should be included and are currently not included. So I've been compiling a little list. So on today's top three of our Olympic suggestions, I think the first one, well, actually, I don't know what it is because I don't know. It should be Horn-Noosen. Let's try this. Horn-Noosen. I've got no idea. Here we go.
What's going
Sponsored by Red Bull.
What is it?
It's called Farmer's Golf. It's basically got this massive whip with a weight on the end.
I love that.
And you can see a little puck at the end of the ramp. Bang!
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Why don't we do that at a gathering?
Well, we could. And someone's commented actually while we were watching that. Do you see the gathering happening in 2021? Of course we do. It might not be in a field, but it will be happening.
Yeah, but there you said that. What we're going to do is, if we can go in the field, we go in the field. If there's no vaccine and everyone's got coronavirus, we'll be bunkered up all over the UK and we've got an epic plan. We're agile, we're flexible. There are a lot of blokes come to Christ at the last gathering online. If we can be in the field, we'll be in the field. If we can't be in the field, we'll be in a bunker. What's not to love?
Right, next.
What's number two?
Number two, can I just say this? I was up at the office last week and I was getting these clips ready, and this one actually made me feel quite sick. There was a particular set of toes and the nails were so long I actually felt really sick. But this is UK toe wrestling.
My feet are like a pterodactyl claw. Was it like them?
Yeah, I've seen them, mate. It's terrible. It's terrible. I can't talk about them. This is UK toe wrestling.
My daughter groomed my feet for an hour tonight. They feel amazing. Anyway, there you go.
Play the clip. So here he is, working his toes out, getting ready for war. Here he comes. He's a champ. Big entrant. That's how you do it.
Well,
Here they go. Done him.
What have you actually got to do?
Well, you just got to lock toes and push them around a bit.
I feel a bit sick.
No, it's not a strong contender, is it? Yeah, I had a clip.
I don't think
it was really horrific. I had to get rid of it.
What's the third one?
The third one is called Bo Taoshi. Let's just watch it. Can't explain it. There you go.
That is amazing. And they've got to knock that bloke off the pole.
Yeah. That's it.
It's like a graphic version of what people's careers are like. Everyone trying to knock someone off the top slot.
we did talk about doing that at the gathering actually one year.
Well, I'll tell you what, I bet we could get insurance for that. We can't get insurance for football, but I bet we get insurance for that. That is amazing. But that's fascinating. I think it's time after that. I think basically, mate, you come up with a couple of strong contenders and one dodgy one. I like Hanusan, I like Bo Taoshi, but I don't really like toe wrestling. So I think we can not have any Olympics. Time for a top three. Official CBM top three.
It's time for the official CBM top three.
Right.
Well, we're going over the bang with this one, aren't we? For our 7-week holiday.
Yeah.
Top three. We're going over the bang.
We were talking. We had a few suggestions, and we decided to end up on the top 3 action heroes. Our top 3 action heroes. So I'll do mine. Here's the first one. This is going to be no surprise. It's the big man.
Arnie.
He's my number one. Yeah, he's my number one, Big Phil. Same as you. Yeah, I'll get him thumbs up. I mean, look at him, mate. He's so adaptable. He's just brilliant. I love Big Arnold.
He is adaptable. He's adaptable. He can either do a headband, sunglasses, or a cigar. He's pretty adaptable.
Yeah, see, no one's laughing at Conan the Barbarian for wearing a headband, are they? And I bet he had sandals on.
Yeah, there's a reason for that, though, isn't there? Anyway, everything in its time. What's your number 2?
Next one. There you go.
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Kicking Bolo Young right in the gut.
He is a proper martial artist.
Yeah.
He's a proper martial artist. Yeah, he's a real deal. And, you know, he can't act, but he's a proper martial artist. Fair play. Your number 3?
My final one, number 3, bit of a curveball. Clint Eastwood, who's now 90. Did you know, a few little facts about Clint Eastwood. 6'4". Didn't know if you knew that. Net worth, they've written about $375 million.
Yeah.
90 years old. I might have said that. I've lost track. But that, also, for me, is one of my... Huh?
He also plays piano beautifully.
He does.
Go on YouTube. Go YouTube Clint Eastwood piano. He's a blues pianist. Like, he's a top blues pianist. He's amazing.
Yeah, he can. Can I just say, just a little complaint there? I'm in charge of social media. Nikki's just put that up because it's about socks and sliders. And I just want to mention, Nikki, I've got the button for social media, if you don't mind. Oh, Nikki, I apologise for everything I've just said. The internet has just told me it was Al.
Yeah. So...
and it will happen again, apparently.
Right. Okay, moving on. My top 3... My top 3, number 1, I've actually got a clip. There is a, can I say, before we show this clip, if you put in the rules of every Chuck Norris film or rules of every Bruce Lee film, this is an excerpt from the rules of every Chuck Norris film.
Oh, what a pause.
The rule is, I think that was rule number 2, Chuck Norris always hits first. But it is amazing. So go on YouTube, put in the 5 rules of every Chuck Norris movie. And there's one where it says he never misses. And you see him with his machine gun, and he goes like this, up and down like this, and across. And all these people at all different levels all fall over getting hit by bullets. It's quite a beautiful thing. He never has to reload. My second one, Bruce Lee. There is a clip on the internet. If you put in the Bruce Lee 1-inch punch, absolutely amazing, genuine martial artist. Yeah. So that's my number 2. Gets missed now by today's generation. And then number 3. Now, The reason I've chosen Sylvester Stallone, he and Arnold, little known fact, he and Arnold Schwarzenegger can read a set of accounts as well as write and produce and film and act. And Stallone and Schwarzenegger were amongst the first actors ever to look at the contract that the studios put for them and said, no, I don't want a fee, I'll take a percentage for life. And that's what made their fortunes. But Stallone actually wrote all the Rocky films and acted, and and then went on to produce them. And then we come to question your Adrian, we did it. He's actually really super intelligent and super disciplined. And if you go on YouTube, there's a brilliant clip. If we go behind the scenes, still Rocky versus Apollo Creed filming of, it's actually brilliant the way you see them choreographing the fight and Stallone giving the instructions. So I think for me, Stallone, sublime, like superfluous, amazing, quintessential action hero. That's what I think. He's the dude. He's the Don. Argue that. He's amazing. And of course, Arnold Schwarzenegger was governor of California.
There you go.
That's no bad thing. These guys aren't stupid. That's why they get what they got, and they're super disciplined. Anyway, we need to bring the show to a close, but I have got a little problem, Blackers.
Go on, mate. What's up?
Well, I'm selling my house. So if anyone wants to move to Chesterfield and join in the vision of Redeemer King, what's going on around here, my house is up for sale. But I need to sort my driveway out. Driveway, not actually my house, but somewhere else we're looking at. And the teeth on the excavator bucket need to be replaced.
Oh.
Only on a digger.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, mancologist, you out there?
Hey, Beechy.
Hey, mancologist, just trying to think, how do I've got this excavator and I got it cheap, and the teeth don't work. How do you change the teeth on an excavator bucket?
Do you have a big digger? If so, the time will come when you need to change the teeth. Here's how. Position the bucket with its teeth parallel to the ground. Set the parking brakes and turn off the excavator. Remove the worn teeth and remove excess dirt from the tooth shank using a wire bristle brush. Tap out the tooth keeper pin with a sledgehammer and the keeper pin punch. Remove the worn tooth and any remaining dirt from the tooth shank. Slide the new tooth onto the tooth shank until the pinholes align. Tap the keeper pin into place with the sledgehammer and the keeper pin punch. Once the pin seats, stop hammering. Give the new tooth a few gentle taps with a hammer to ensure it is mounted securely. If it does not move, the tooth has been installed correctly.
Good job. Good job.
Well, there you go. So, gentlemen, we've come to the end of our 10-11 week run. We're taking a 7-week break. We're all about producing the content. Thanks for sticking with us over all these weeks. Please spread the word, share it on social media. We're all about having a laugh, but also making Jesus known and living our faith on the front foot. But not, we don't take ourselves too seriously, but we live for Jesus because we love him and he loves us. So spread the word. So from me, Blackers, Big Phil, Suneel, Pincher, and the internet. See you in 7 weeks. But in the meantime, keep watching, keep looking. Thanks for all your support. Love you loads. Cheers, brothers.